We have the questions, affirmations and reflections. And there's a couple of things to keep in mind in terms of some of the recommendations about how to use these skills. So firstly, just as a general thing, we're really wanting clients or patients to be doing more of the talking. If you're talking more than about 50% of the time, then you're probably moving away from motivational interviewing, and you may be less motivational in terms of helping move the person towards change. So you're wanting to help the person to talk probably more than 50% of the time. Secondly, with respect to questions and reflections, you're probably wanting to be doing 2 reflections for every question. I'm not saying that you sort of ask a question and then do a reflection and then another reflection, but more just as an overall feel. We're wanting to have probably 2 reflections for every question. We're wanting to say back to the person what they've just said to us more often than asking questions. I think the reason for that is question after question after question can become quite interrogative, and you lose the collaborativeness of it. Because remember, we're wanting to keep that MI spirit. So the reflections help to make that collaborative. We're wanting to use really more complex reflections. We want to reflect back feeling and meaning more, although that can also start to come further into the interview. Often at the start we do more simple reflections, and then as we get to know people a bit more, we can make more hunches and start to use more complex reflections. And really we're wanting to mainly ask open questions. So I guess a few things then to keep in mind. When we hear change talk, don't just sit there. I guess that's one of the key things in terms of part of the responsibility for us in a motivational interview. If you hear change talk, help people to elaborate on it, ask for examples, affirm the change talk, reflect it, make sure the person's hearing their change talk back to them. So this is the bit where we need to really put our energy and effort into, is to be listening for and then responding to change talk from the person. I just wanted to make a few comments too on giving advice, because we do have expertise. I mean, there is stuff that we know about health and the relationship between health and lifestyle and so on that is useful to offer to our clients or patients. And probably clear and direct advice from a clinician is motivational in and of itself. It's how you do it. And probably one of the things I'd suggest in terms of how you give advice is simply that you get the client or patient's permission to do so. If you have their permission to do so, then it keeps that advice giving collaborative. And that's as simple as saying, would you mind if I tell you some things I know about smoking and heart disease or something like that. The other way you can get permission as well is to say to people, well, this might not fit with you, or you may not sort of take this on, but one of the things I know about smoking and heart disease is da-da-da. So you give them the choice to take the advice or not to take it. And of course, if a person asks you for advice, like, what do you think I should do? Then that's giving you permission as well, and that's perfectly fine to sort of start to offer advice then. Sometimes with giving advice too, it's quite useful to first check in with the person what they already know. What do you already know about smoking and heart disease? Because by doing that, you're not assuming that they have a deficit in their knowledge. You're getting their input first, and then perhaps you fill in the gaps or provide some extras, and then you check in with them again. What do you think about that information? How does that fit with what you already knew? Sometimes we think of that as kind of ask, tell, ask in terms of information giving. Ask what they know first, tell them a bit of the information that you've got to offer, and then ask them again how that fits with them. That's the main pieces of information that I was hoping to discuss today. So at the front we've got this notion that we don't want to get into arguments with people, with our patients and clients. We want people to be offering the arguments for change. We do that by creating a kind of a motivational interviewing spirit. This is kind of the qualities we take to the interaction. We want to be collaborative, evocative and respectful. In the background of that, we're trying to do a few things. We're trying to express empathy, we're trying to develop discrepancies. We want to try and roll with resistance rather than arguing against it. And all the time we're wanting to support self-efficacy and build confidence. The client comes to those interactions in terms of the things that they're saying. And we're wanting to listen out for the things that they say in terms of change talk. We're wanting to accept and validate sustained talk, but help to create elaboration and so on in the area of change, building to some sort of commitment language. And we do all that by asking open questions, by affirming what people are saying and doing, and by using, importantly, by using reflections, by reflecting the things that people are saying, and that creates the momentum of exploring change talk. At the end of the interview, basically, we're wanting to give a bit of a summary, pull it all together, try to summarise the person's sense of their own commitment for change, and then start the process of action planning. Start to develop a sense of what the person's going to do, how they're going to do it, how they're going to make this change. So that's basically what I was wanting to present to you all today. Did you have any questions?
For more information or to receive a copy of these resources, please contact the Clinical Manager Primary Healthcare on 07 3872 2500 or email qld@heartfoundation.org.au. If you would like to know more about Heart Foundation programs, resources and events, please contact the Heart Health Information Service on 1300 36 2787 for the cost of a local call, or visit heartfoundation.org.au.
I found by using motivational interviewing that it develops a good rapport with clients.
I feel like I have a closer relationship with my patients, and
it encourages them to self-manage their lifestyle behaviours and increase the good behaviours.
The patients come up with their own ways to get over their own barriers, and so it's very empowering for them.
It's more of a collaborative process.
And it's not as intimidating as me sitting there or lecturing to them, telling them you should do this, you should do that, and them going away and going, well that's good, but you know, I have to do 100 things in my week.
It's really given me some good tools to use when communicating with my patients.
It's a good skill to learn, especially with patients who are resistant, because I think these are people who have barriers, who have been told do this and do that and do it this way, and I think these techniques that we learn help us to build a softer relationship with the patient, to build a more respectful relationship with the patient, so we can sit down next to them as an equal in the same goals and look at ways where we can reach those goals together, you know, because it's my role to support that patient instead of dictate to them.
It's been a huge success here in our workplace.